What's going on? Welcome to another live art stream. So today I'm going to finish off this Beastman that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. Right? If you guys are following me on YouTube, you can see the first two parts of those streams on YouTube, and yeah, so you'll be able to see how I laid out the pencils, and I did my color blocks with special guest Will Playton on part two. So today I'm gonna wrap this up with my inks, and this will be good to go. So today I'm going to be using some brush pens and a couple of fine liners, just so I can get these finer details. All right. One moment here. All right, cool. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I like to typically start with the face. Get in here, get in these eyes. Once again, this is part of an artist challenge where a handful of artists are illustrating different characters from the Masters of the Universe IP. And this is the first one in the character list prompts, I guess. Right. So this is Beastman, right? And as per the discussion I had with Will in the last stream when I was laying in the color blocks, I always felt that Beastman was a character that needed a little more love, right? Like needed to be portrayed less goofy and more intimidating. Right? So that was my approach with putting Beastman in this I guess like gesture or pose. I didn't want to go with a goofy Beastman, like, because he's always been portrayed as more of an oaf or a lackey. So I want to convey more of a feral Beastman. You know. One of these little details in. Get those nice and crisp. I think the next one, Jay, what's going on, big dog? Angel, how's it going, sir? Welcome. I think the next character on the prompt list is going to be He-Man himself. So that's going to be interesting, right? Because I'm still like figuring out how I'm going to pose him. I don't want to do the pose where he's got the sword raised. I feel like everybody does that. So I don't know. I'm gonna work that out before the next live stream on that. But yeah. Once again, happy weekend to everybody jumping in on the stream. I appreciate you hanging out. This will be part 3 of this Beastman live stream series. And this is my first time ever illustrating anything from the Masters of the Universe IP. He, him, man. Nah, man. It's gonna be he. It's definitely gonna be he. Right? Although it could be argued that it was he, him. Definitely gonna be he. So, aside from this Masters of the Universe series, I'm going to be doing some live streams with some video game IPs. I developed a list over the summer. Are they, man? I'm gonna be doing some IPs from video games. I got a list of video game IPs that I'm gonna be doing live streams for. Let's see. I'm gonna be doing it's spooky season, so I'm gonna be doing a Bloodborne piece. I got a Castlevania piece that I've been dying to do. I have the thumbnails already composed. Berserk, one of my all-time favorite manga. And let's see what else. I got a few things, and then going into November, I got God of War, and I have a few others. I got a list saved in my phone. But this is yes, I did. Bloodborne, indeed. Bloodborne, indeed. And that one is also going to be painted, right? Watercolor, lots of gothic looking colors, indeed. And God of War, you said yes. God of War. I'm thinking of. I mean, it would make more sense for me to do the more current God of War. But I am quite partial to the classic, the OG God of War, the original trilogy. Almighty indeed. So, and I'm not, I'm not gonna be all cryptic about what I have in mind. The idea that I have for a God of War piece, it's gonna be bigger than this. This is an 11 by 14, right? So I'm thinking of going 11 by 17 with the God of War piece, and have it be a callback to all of the God of War games, right? To where it's him seated, on a throne, but at his feet are all of the weapons that you would have gotten throughout all of the games, right? Send you the invoice. You know what I mean? Like that's my idea, including the Norse, like the Norse games. So it would be like him centered, um, sitting on a throne, and then like at his feet and at his sides would be, like the relics that you would have used throughout all of the previous games and the Norse run. You know, that like the purpose of all these live streams, is to do like some really epic work. You know what I mean? That, speaking candidly, right? If I were to say I'm going to do this, off stream, I'd never get to it because I get commissioned pretty often, which is a blessing, and I thank everyone who has supported myself and my brand over the years. It's been a hell of a ride, and yeah, I'd never get to it. But if I schedule like a live stream and I got stuff to draw on the live stream, oh, it's a wrap. I got tons of stuff, dude. Like I got some anime variants also that I'm gonna be doing. I got Mega Man, Castlevania. I got some. Shoot, I don't have the list in front of me, dude. But like, I'll announce it, and it's gonna be fun stuff because I want to do like a lot of different genres and different IPs on these live streams. I'm also open to suggestions, right? So like, if there's something that you want to see done live, right? I will absolutely jump on that, right? Because the intent is to do these from beginning to end, so you would naturally see all of the pencils being built. Thank you, Ellie. You would naturally see all of the pencil art being composed. Then I block in colors, and then finally it would be all of the ink work being applied. Right, so you can actually see everything and like that's involved in the whole process. So this is the first of, I think it's like 52 characters on the prompt list for Masters of the Universe. And this is the first time I've attempted to illustrate these characters. For being a children's show marketed to like sell toys, these toys were really, really detailed. And I based how I drew this off of the actual action figure. So Jay Fantastic says, you think they'll make an up-to-date Castlevania adventure game, and would you be interested in it? Along the lines of the Lord of Shadows Castlevania games, if you heard about those. So, low-key, if they do an up-to-date Castlevania game, 100%, like, I'm a fan of the series. Like, I love the lore, I love the series, right? Symphony of the Night is classic. You know what I'm saying? Like Symphony of the Night, like I think the whole setup of that game was incredible. The intro with Alucard and all that, and like you lose. It's the Mega Man formula, right? Where you lose all your powers and then you have to like work to go get them back. But if they do a more modern Castlevania, I feel like it's gonna go the route of a Bloodborne, of a Baldur's Gate. You know what I'm saying? Like I think what was that one that they did? There was like it was a God of War clone. I forgot the name of that one, and it was okay, but mechanically it was bad. Like the camera was terrible on that, and again it was a God of War clone. But I could see the Castlevania IP going the route of like a Bloodborne, with all the trick weapons. Well, maybe trick weapons is like more exclusive to the Bloodborne IP, right? But the variety of weapons, right? Like if you take like Elden Ring with regard to the weapon variety, but Bloodborne dungeons, if that makes sense. Ah, yes. So yeah, like I think initially the Lord of Shadows like was a good idea, right? But I think it was executed badly. You know, and I forget, man. Was the main character to that game even like a Belmont? Because I know that there was a sequel to it, and it had like conceptually it had some good ideas, right? Like the crucifix that would be a whip. Ah, it was a Belmont. Okay, it had some really good ideas. I like the crucifix whip, right? And like the different functions. That was that was a good idea conceptually, right? So that's what I think is going to happen. Like I think that we're not too far off from there being a revival of the Castlevania IP, especially with how dope the anime series is. I saw that the new season dropped. I haven't checked it out yet. I might let me check that out tomorrow while I'm working on some commission stuff. But with the revival of the or not the revival, but how popular that anime is, I don't think I don't think it'll be too much time before we see some new some new games. Now I'm going to be bouncing around between two different pens here because I like mixing up my line weights. Yeah, I honestly thought that there would have been talks about a game when the first season dropped and it did so well. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But you know how Nintendo get down. And I think that they may be in the works of reconfiguring how the play cycle will play out. You know what I mean? Because the Lord of Shadows games like really didn't hit the way most people would have anticipated it to hit. So if you're just tuning in, this is character number one of an artist challenge where on a monthly basis we're going to be illustrating characters from the Masters of the Universe IP. And the first one on the list was Beastman. And this is my iteration of Beastman. First time illustrating this character. First time illustrating anything from Masters of the Universe. Hmm. So, side note, the Tragedy trade paperback is officially live on Kickstarter, and the trade paperback features a 40-page manga that I illustrated. The links to the campaign are in the description. Right, I think we have about 20 days left on the campaign. You have the option of getting the trade paperback, which is like 20. No, I take that back. It's like 240 pages. But with the manga, it's 280. All right, you have the option of getting the manga by itself, or along with the trade and all the extra little bonus features that will come along with it. So I greatly appreciate anyone supporting that. When did you stop counting how many pieces have you completed? What do you mean, Jay? Like in my like career? Dog, man, like I don't think I've ever kept count. It's like because I made it a point to just like on a daily basis draw something, right? And it's something that I encourage all of my students to do, right? Just drawing on a daily basis, right? That by drawing on a daily basis, you avoid artist block, right? The fabled artist block, the inability to illustrate without inspiration. You know, when it boils down to just the simple fact that you're not drawing enough. So I've been stopped counting, dude. Like I don't think I've ever counted like at all, because it was just not something that I like really thought about. So what I have done is I counted in series, right? Like if it's in a particular theme. So like with this guy, this will be my first of this theme or intellectual property. So these little details right here, this will be the slowest part, right? Because you don't want to mess things up. But once we get past all these smaller little details, and I start blocking things in with the hard black, like this will be done relatively quick. Will, welcome, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I saw an opportunity to jump on this tonight and and take care of this Beast Man so that I could move on to the He-Man. I didn't want to miss an opportunity to do this live and complete the series. Guys, if you're not familiar with Will Clayton, he's a very, very talented painter out of Australia. You should definitely check his work out. The Art of Will Clayton across all socials. He is the man that got me inspired to paint my work, where I formerly was using like markers and colored pencil. So he got me into rendering my work more so with watercolor and gouache. Which one here? Thanks, Will. These little renders won't take very much time at all. And here, I got you. Yeah, that's gonna remain like that. I'm not gonna go heavy black in that because I think the purple that I threw in there like made it cold enough to where like I don't need to overdo it. But in these areas here, I'm gonna go a little darker with the black. Hatch that in, maybe drop a bit of a black underneath the beard here, and the pelt, and a little bit along here. this in a little more. Welcome, everybody joining in on the stream. I appreciate you hanging out. This is the first of many in an artist challenge themed after Masters of the Universe. So this is my attempt at Beastman. Okay, I have a request suggestion for your next piece, and it's a variant of your favorite character. Okay, I am listening. $51 to go. Oh yeah. Oh yes. I'm ready. I'm ready. I got some thumbnails on the He-Man. Superman X from Legion of Superheroes. Okay. I like that. Superman X from Legion of Superheroes. I don't think I've ever done that one. So that's going to be fun to do. I love this pen because it's so responsive to pressure. And it gives you a nice gray value when you lighten up your pressure. So it gives you like that ink brush quality. Oh, it's fantastic. So for those of you that are curious, right? Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen, right? This right here changed my life. Right? Because it's very, very responsive, right, to your pressure, and it's very easy to control. So I can play around with different line weights. Add some deeper shadows if I need to in certain areas. Here. These little details. When I was doing my original composition for the drawing, were fun to do, but they're kind of a pain in the neck to ink. So it's all good. See? That nice gray. I love that. Shout out to Dave Finch. I saw him using this on one of his streams, and it like made me real curious to see how how I'd be able to, sort of render my work with this pen, and man, it's great stuff. Have I ever done any straight up calligraphy? So, a long time ago, like right before my graffiti days, right there was a point where yes, I dabbled a little bit, and and I know, and like I was able to kind of mess around with some of the dip pens. However, like it wasn't something that really stuck with me. But my fiance, right, was heavy into calligraphy. That like I bought her some pens, and like she would go into this deep dive with like inks, right? That calligraphy in itself, like I can respect that art form, you know, because you have to hold the pen a particular way, to get certain effects, and your stroke is also very important. You know what I mean? And it's very very interesting, you know. And the furthest, the I guess like in recent years, the furthest that I've ever gotten with like even working with a dip pen is a quill. That like I'll ink some of my comic pages and some of my commission work with this. This is awesome. The only reason why I'm not inking this beast man with the quill is because like I didn't warm up. Right? That to get the quill going, you got to warm up a little bit, and remind your muscle memory how to hold it, and you know get acclimated, especially with the art that you're going to be working with. So, like with the Bloodborne piece, because that one's going to have a lot of heavy blacks, but it's going to like in terms of like style, that's going to be more of a anime manga style that I'm going to illustrate that in. Right, I'll do with a quill, because the line quality of a quill is, dude, it's next level. That actually the cover to the manga that's currently on Kickstarter, I did that all quill, and like the large the large areas were done with black, like uh, a brush rather. See these areas in here. Have you done any calligraphy yet? Let's see. Let me move this up just a little bit so you guys can see that. Cursive, yes. That's that's a lost art, dude. That when Melissa was in her calligraphy era, like I would go into the TikToks and start going down the rabbit hole regarding excuse me, regarding like the best pens to use, techniques. There's a guy actually on YouTube who's got these really good videos about calligraphy, and he like he uses things that don't even look like pens because it's all in how you position your hand to like get the desired effect with the pen. You know what I mean? And he like talks about the different inks, what inks are best. The whole spiel is very educational. You get some deeper blacks in some of these leg muscles here. I like to practice my cursive from time to time. It's a lost art, dude. Like I don't even think they're even teaching that right now in elementary schools. Everything has gone the way of digital. Let me move this up a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna lay in this leg here. Get these little toes, these like monstrous, unpedicured toes. And further out. The calf. And some of the bones in the feet. Have you ever started on a black canvas and then added the whites? And would that be something you would want to try for the Bloodborne piece? So, admittedly, no. I've never done that before. I've seen it done, and it looks really fun. Right? However, with the Bloodborne piece, because it's not going to be that black intensive, I would go a different route, right? Because with the Bloodborne piece, what I intend on doing is using a lot of cold colors, right? So like anybody who's in the room that's played that game, it's got a lot of purple hues, a lot of fuchsias, a lot of pinks, a lot of like blues and cobalts and such, right? It's primarily a very cold color palette, very dismal. So I'm going to like when I prep the paper for that, it's going to be those colors that I drop in, and then pull the highlights out of that. So it essentially it's kind of like what you're describing, but but I'm gonna be doing it like off of white as opposed to like a black, like starting in black. But I've gotten commissioned recently actually to do a black sketch cover, a ghostwriter, and um, I have some Posca pens that I'm going to use to do that. Here, little feathering hairs there. Now I'm not going to go super dark here, right? Because I do like this purple shadow that I gave and that I put into his inner side, and it's indicative of like light sort of reflecting off the ground, so it's not like pushed into like hard black. But a lot of these smaller details do warrant some black line. How do you know where to put your shadows? Do you plan ahead or do you just feel it as you go? So, a lot of the time, I do plan ahead. A lot of the time, right? But part of it is like once you establish where your light source is going to be, right? What is improv as far as like my process is understanding the shape language and how the shadow affects the form that it's casted on, if that makes sense. So like for example, I wanted Beastman, right? I wanted his like light source to be coming from behind him, so it almost like it's coming this way, so we can see like a lot of the shadows being cast in his face, a lot of the shadow being pushed into the front. But because I didn't want it to feel like it was a dark day, right? That naturally, when we have strong sunlight, it's going to reflect off the ground. So a lot of these shadowed areas, right, aren't going to be super hard black. Like I'm going to go into a deep black here, right? And in certain areas here to sort of push the shadow downward. But this leg is going to remain as is. I may get into a deeper black where the thigh meets the calf, and in here, push that up, and in here, right? Just so that it enforces how light is sort of like bouncing off of the shape language of the form. That sounded really nerdy of me, but yeah. So like sometimes it's predetermined, right? Like if I'm illustrating like say a Batman, right, and I want Batman to feel like gothic and you know like Batman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna drop a lot of shadows, right? But in this case, because the vibe isn't necessarily something that feels kind of gothic or broody. It's more so along the lines of fantasy or high fantasy, if you will. I'm not gonna go super heavy on the blacks. Now, when I get to Skeletor, that may warrant a lot of black, right? Because when I think of Skeletor, I think of like him, in his castle, surrounded by mystical artifacts, or like planning, how he's gonna try and take over Castle Grayskull and stuff like that. So like that would warrant going heavier on the blacks and then like dropping in some deeper shadows. But in this case, not so much. So it's just you wanna convey enough shadow to where it does the job with regard to your shape language, but you don't want to do too much black. Like right in here. Do a little bit right in there. Right, and then because I'm using a brush, it still gives me that nice little feathering effect, right? That is consistent with the texture of the pelt that he's wearing on his chest. Right. Get a little bit in here. Adding that little splash of black will push his head forward and lean his body toward the viewer. Here, leave some areas negative. I'm not going to go solid black in these areas. I do want some breaks to where the red pokes through, right? So that we don't lose that fuzzy texture. Here we can go a little heavier, right? As we move upward, we can sort of break it up. And here we're going to go a little deeper. Underneath this belt. We're going to go super deep here. I'm going to break this up and do a little hatching. Here we're going to go dark. here. I can go a little darker too. Do a little cross hatching. So do some nice little transition. Boom. Do the same thing on the end here. The leg. Because this one's pushed back a bit, and we already have some shadowed areas here. I just want to 1 second, guys. My bad. had a technical difficulty there in the middle of the stream. My apologies for that. But we're back. That was super weird. All right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Push some areas into some deeper shadow. All right. We're almost there. Let's get this other arm in. And we're good. Hatching some of the muscles in this right arm. Just here, just a little bit, so you guys can see the whole thing a bit more. here. Shadow in this part right here. I don't think we need any black in there because I dropped some cool tones in there, so that pushes that into shadow. And look at that. Smaller areas because we're a little further away. And we go with thinner line rate. This is a little bit of shadow that's matching. Go. And smaller areas on fingers. These little knuckles can get a little tricky. Finger a bit. Until those hands just a tad. Make hands look and feel strong and powerful. Right? Let's see here. All right. Here, there. Here we go. So we're, I think we're pretty much done with Beastman. So now we're going to move down and get into the ground here. And that should wrap it up. And get some of this grass texture in here. Coloring. Little details in it. Much quicker. Not all of them warrant a solid ink line. Right? Because what we want to do is kind of imply the terrain and the feathering of the grass. A little more here in this patch of grass. Some gentle feathering over by this area. All right, so we're about done here now. Let me just hit this with an eraser for these pencil lines that have gone astray. Let me clean up the outside just a bit. All right. So to finalize this, I'm going to clean up a couple areas and drop a nice shadow on the ground. And this bad boy is done. So let me get some water. And a little bit of paint. Let's wake up some of this purple. Right? I know purple seems like an odd choice, but when I'm working with warmer colors, I think purple is cold enough to get the job done. So with the application of this colder color for the shadows, we avoid having to use any like really like deep blacks, but we communicate, light being cast from one direction and pushing shadow in the opposite direction. All right, so we can put some shadow values there. here. Pelt. Torso. Yeah. All right, make sure that the brush is just damp, right? Because you don't want too much paint. You don't want it to be too like opaque. You want enough color in the brushes to push in some shadow values. Here, so we're going to add in more black into this leg. And here, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pushing some areas into shadow, right? But I'm following the shape language in the muscles and a lot of the features in here, right? So it feels very consistent with the way light is hitting him. I'm using a light purple. And a round brush. A little bit. We can color it up just a few little areas with like some colder values. Yeah. All right. There it is. Clean up some little areas here. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Beast Man, right? Masters of the Universe, first of 52, right? I greatly appreciate you guys sticking around for the whole stream. Don't forget to support the Tragedy Kickstarter. That's currently linked in the description of this video, and also found in the description to the video is links like to my link tree, all of my socials. I also, like, if you guys follow me on Instagram, I announce what shows I'm going to be at for the next couple months, and any updates regarding projects that I'm involved in. And the next time that I'm going to go live, I always schedule that and announce it on my IG. So I greatly appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the links. And I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.